Hi guys, it's Joanne here. Welcome again to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the simplest method on how you can cut and sew this beautiful princess gown with an extended shoulder. So if you like what you're seeing here and you want to know how to cut and sew this, kindly stick around and watch this video to the end. And guys, if you've not subscribed to my channel, please take your time to hit on the subscribe button, turn on your notification bell for more videos, and also like and share this video so that other people can get to see and learn as well. So guys, without wasting much of your time, let's get right into the business of the day. So guys, to begin, I'm going to be making use of these fabrics you're seeing here. This is a doll face fabric and this is 1 yard. I'm going to use this as the lining. Now this is an organdy fabric. This is 2 yards. If you want it fuller, you can get 3 yards. Also, it depends on the age you're making this for. I'm making this for a 4-year-old, so that was completely fine. Now I also bought a hard net for it, and that's my zipper. Now I'm going to begin with the drafting part. First off, you're going to get a pattern paper like this and start taking your vertical measurements. From this top line, which is also the shoulder line, come down by the chest line. The chest line measurement I'm using for this tutorial is 4.5 inches. Now from there, I just connected that point into a straight line, as you can see. Now the next measurement is going to be the half length. So I just went ahead to label each of these lines. That's the shoulder line, the chest line, and this is the waistline. The half length for this measurement, for this dress I'm making, is 9 inches. So I had about 8.075. So it wasn't up to 9 inches on this pattern paper. Now when I'm cutting on my fabric, I'm going to be adding that 0.25 inch. Hope you understand. Now I'm going to, having gotten this vertical measurement, I'm going to start with the horizontal measurements. Come on this shoulder line and divide the shoulder measurement by 2. Whatever you have, you're going to be imputing on the shoulder line. Okay, what I had was 4.075. I went ahead to mark that, and also on that point I marked, I came down by ½ inch for the shoulder slope. Then the neck width I used was 2.5 inches. Having gotten that measurement on the shoulder line, I came down here on the chest line to also repeat the same thing for the shoulder measurements. Now do the same thing on the chest line. So what I marked was the bust measurement divided by 4. And I'm going to be marking the shoulder measurement right here on this line, this chest line, the same way I did on the shoulder line. Do the same thing on the chest line. Once you've gotten that measurement, you're going to take your straight rule and connect into a straight line. Next, I am going to be connecting the shoulder slope from the tip of this line I just drew here to the neck width to form the shoulder slope for this half length. Next, I am going to be connecting the armhole. To do that, come here to the straight line of the armhole and divide that measurement by 2, as you've seen me done here in this video. Then come in here by like 0.25 and connect your armhole. So you're going to take a cuff rule and connect from the tip of your shoulder, of the shoulder to the chest line. Now having gotten this armhole, as you can see here, I'm going to come here to the neck depth and I'm going to be coming down by 2 inches. Next, I am going to take a cuff rule and connect a round neckline. Once I was through with that, I am going to come here to the waistline and I'm going to be dividing the waist measurement by 4. So whatever you have after getting a quarter of the waist measurement, you're going to impute on the length of the half scale bodice. Once you've done that, you're going to connect from the chest line all the way to the waistline. So guys, this is basically it for the measurement of this half scale. I'm going to come here to the shoulder and work on the shoulder, since I'm going to be making an extension on the shoulder line. So when you have the shoulder slope, you're going to simply extend the shoulder slope, the measurements. Okay, just extend the measurement from this point all the way down. All right, once you've done that, you're going to start taking the measurements from the tip of the shoulder. Here I'm going to be going out by 2 inches. Now once I got that point, I'm going to come down by 0.75. Next, I am going to simply connect from this point where I came down by 0.75 to the tip of the shoulder using a slight curve. Next, I am going to come here from this point here where I came down by 0.75 and also use my cuff rule to connect the armhole. So guys, watch how I place this cuff rule to connect the armhole and do the same thing. But there are two ways to this. It's either you do connect it this way, all right? It's either you connect it this way, or you can simply turn your cuff rule to this other side and also connect. So if you connect either ways, you're not wrong. So I'm simply going to use this blue marker and draw a dotted line. I'm not going to be using that dotted line. I'm going to use the one I marked with my red biro. So go ahead and blend this part which I am blending here, so that you don't have any sharp points around the armhole. Now I went ahead to label this as the front pattern. Guys, this is basically it for the front pattern. I am going to bring the back part and the pattern paper for the back and start drafting as well. Now for the back here, I am going to also start by drawing out the zipper line. The zipper line I use for this measurement is 1 inch. 1 inch is completely fine. You don't want to have so much allowance for your zipper. After getting this, I'm going to just label this as the zipper allowance. Once I was done with that, I am going to go ahead to also mark out the start point line. From the top of the paper, I simply came down by 1/2 inch. That's for the start point line. That line is also known as the shoulder line. Now from that line, I am going to come down by the chest line, which is 4.5 inches. I'll do the same thing for this part to enable me get a straight line. So guys, I'm going to go ahead to also label this as the shoulder line, the chest line, and the waistline. Now on the shoulder line, I am going to be marking the shoulder measurement, divide by 2, impute on this line, and do the same thing on the chest line. Mark the shoulder, divide the shoulder by 2, and also impute on the chest line. Then on the shoulder line here where I marked the shoulder measurement, I came down here by 1/2 inch and connected a straight line to the chest line. Now on the chest line, divide the bust measurement by 4 and impute. The neck width I'm going to be using is 2.5, just as the front. Connect your shoulder slope from your neck width to meet to the tip of the shoulder. Next, I am going to be connecting the armhole curve. So come down here and divide this line here by 2, get the midpoint and connect from the chest line to meet to that point to meet to the midpoint. Having done this, I have gotten the shape of the armhole for the back. I'm going to come here on the waistline. On the neckline, I am going to come down here by 1 inch. That's for the neck depth, and also connect from that part you came down by 1 inch to meet to the neck width to get your round neckline. And on the waistline, divide your waist by 4, the waist measurement by 4, and impute on the waistline. Guys, note that I did not add any dart to this measurement. You don't need that for a kid's wear or a child's dress. Okay, now extend the neckline to meet to the zipper allowance area. Once you've done this, we are basically through with the drafting of the basic bodice. Now go ahead and extend the shoulder just like the front by 2 inches. Now once you've done that, once you've extended this line here, mark 2 inches. Come down here from that point by 0.75. Next, you're going to also connect it from that point to meet to the tip of the shoulder. If you're confused about where 0.75 is, this is it on the tape rule. Now I am going to take a slight curve and measure that or rule that point from the point I came down by 0.75, connect it to the tip of the shoulder. Now guys, having done this, I'm going to also connect this from this point I came down here by 0.75 to connect to connect the armhole just like the front. Go ahead to blend this part here to erase any sharp points around the armhole. I am also going to label this pattern here as the back. So guys, I am going to add my sewing allowance on this pattern paper so that I don't get to do that while I'm cutting on fabric. On the shoulder line here, I'm going to simply mark 1/2 inch on the shoulder, just like this. And on the side, I am going to mark 1 inch for the seam allowance. Note that if you're adding your seam allowance on the pattern paper, you don't need to do that when cutting on your fabric. But if you're not going to be adding on your pattern paper, please do while cutting on your fabric. Now guys, this is basically it for both the front and the back parts, the upper parts. After cutting, you're going to be matching the shoulder up. Ensure it has a line. You don't want to have one part longer than the other parts. Okay, now ensure that the shoulder align, the shoulders meet, and you've noticed the back armhole and the front armhole that it is not the same. Now I'm going to use this to cut on my fabric, and note that I am not going to be adding allowance. This is the down parts of the dress. Fold your fabric into 2, then refold again, so you're going to be having 4. Note the part that is folded. This is where the part that is folded. Okay, then on this part that is folded, I'm going to mark the waistline. To mark your waistline, you're going to take your waist measurement, add 1 inch for the zipper allowance. Then once you've done that, you're going to divide that measurement by 6.28. Once you've gotten that measurement, you're going to mark it all around this circle to form your circle like this, placing your tape on the tip of the angle. Hope you understand. So once you've done that, you're going to get a round line like this. So measure the half length you have. For me, I had 9. So I'm taking away that 9 inches to get the total full length of the dress. For the full length of the dress, you're going to minus like 2 inches from the total full length. That's because I'm going to be using this as the lining. Then when I'm cutting the organdy, I am going to be adding that 2 inches I took away from the lining piece. Hope you understand. So go ahead and mark whatever you have, mark all around. Note that I placed the tape on this circle on the waistline. Now to get the full length, you're going to subtract the half length and take that measurement all around like this, as you can see. Then on this waistline here, I am going to come up by ½ inch. That's what I'm going to be using to stitch to the upper parts. Once you've done that, go ahead and cut out whatever you marked out. Then this is what it looks like. This is how it looks like. Go ahead and cut out one part, one side, okay? Just open it up. Once you've opened it up, you're going to have the complete waistline plus the zipper allowance. Now I'll use this leftover fabric to cut out the upper bodice, which I've already done that. I also cut out the lining piece. I used a cotton lining for this upper bodice. I added ½ inch on this down part to use it to join to the skirt part. Note that I did not add any allowance to the shoulder and the side because I already did that on the pattern paper. Now this is the part we cut out. I am going to go ahead to fold this fold first by 0.25 and refold again by 0.25 and stitch it neatly. Now for this organdy here, I am going to I've cut this one out already. Remember that I got 2 yards for this, which the 2 yards is what I have for the width of the skirt parts. Once you measure that up, you're going to have 72 inches for the width. That's for the waist part, which I'm going to be gathering around. Then for the length, what I did was that for the length, you're going to double it this way. Have you seen what I did there? So you're going to double it like this. Then for the total length, you're going to add extra ½ inch on the waist part. That's what you're going to be using to join to the upper bodice. Fold it this way. It means that you're not going to be hemming the down parts because you're going to be folding it all the way to the waist part. Then to make it thick, I had to double this up. You can use 4, you can use 3, depends on how much fabric you have. So have you seen what I just did here? I'm going to go ahead to run a gather stitch on the width part, okay, to gather it up to get the waist of the skirt. Now for this upper bodice, we are going to start by joining these pieces you're seeing here. Taking away the pattern paper, and I'm going to start with joining the shoulder line. For the front part, I cut this one on fold, as you can see. Now this is the lining piece, and I have the lining piece there and the main fabric. You're going to place the lining piece right side facing the lining piece. Okay, place the main fabric right side facing the lining piece and stitch the neckline by like 0.25. For the back here, where you have your zipper part, you're going to open that part up. Do the same thing for the lining piece. So once you've opened that up, you're going to have 2 for the main fabric and 2 for the lining piece, unlike the front, which you have just 1. Secure the neckline with your pin and take to your machine and stitch the neckline by 0.25. For the back here, I'm simply going to do the same thing. For one part, I'm going to place the main fabric and the lining piece, right sides facing each other. Secure the neckline as well with your pin and also sew by 0.25. Do the same thing for this one here for the second part. So I'll take this to my machine and sew and show you guys next thing to do. Once I was done sewing, I went ahead to give this a nice press. Please guys, if you're making a kiddies wear, make sure that as you're sewing, you're pressing with your iron. Hope you understand, to get that neat finish. So this is what I have for both the front and the back. I'll go ahead now to join the side. Notice that I placed the main fabric facing me. So you're going to open this up like this, the right side facing me, and I'm going to as well do the same thing for the back part. Place the right side on the back part, place the right side to the front, to the right side of the front, and you're going to be matching the shoulder line like this, making sure that it aligns. Okay, ensure that you place the seams aligned first before you go ahead to secure with your pin. All right, then take this to the sewing machine and sew by 1/2 inch. That was the allowance I kept when cutting on fabric. I'll do the same thing for this one here, making sure the seams of both the front and the back aligns. Then when go ahead to secure with your pin and sew by 1/2 inch. Once I was through with that, this is exactly what I had here. After stitching, I open press the seam as you guys can see here, so you have your neat finish. I would even advise after sewing, go ahead to trim off excess allowance on the shoulder line. So to sew the armhole, you're going to flip this over like this, and you're going to also place, making sure that the seams of both the front and the back aligns. As you guys can see, use your pin and secure it, and also do the same thing on other parts of the armhole. I'll take this to the sewing machine and I'm going to be stitching here by 0.25. Now guys, after stitching, you should have exactly like this. Go ahead to notch very well, and also I'm going to trim off this part around the shoulder that was a bit bulky. Then I'm going to go ahead to bring out the right side to show you guys. Now, as you guys can see, you're going to take this to the ironing board, and you're going to iron this very well. Give it a nice press. To do this other part, I'm going to also flip this over like this, as you guys can see. Please watch carefully how I am going to be turning this over. See what I just did. Please do the same thing. And you're going to align the seam and take this to your machine and also sew by 0.25. So guys, after giving this a beautiful press, this is exactly what I have. So this is the wrong side. Have you seen how it's looking neat? I went ahead to also top stitch on the wrong part, so it lays very well. Now the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to be sewing the side. Flip this over, take the right side, the main fabric together, and you're going to be pinning, making sure that the stitches around the armhole meets. Okay, you're going to make sure that the seam around the armhole meets. Then you're going to go ahead to secure other parts. Once you've gotten that part, the seam around the armhole, once it aligns, you're going to go ahead to secure other parts with your pin. Do the same thing for the lining piece. So what this means is that what I did here was that I sew the lining differently and the main fabric differently. Go ahead to measure 1 inch if that was what you used for your allowance and sew. After sewing, guys, I open press the seam as you guys can see, and I turn this to the right side, and this is looking very neat as you guys can see. I'm so particular about neat finish, so if you do the right thing, you definitely get neat finish. Now to sew the zipper, to mark out the zipper parts, I simply took the lining facing each other and the main fabric facing each other, right side also facing each other, and I went ahead to mark 1 inch. That was for my zipper allowance, still aligning the seams together on the neckline. I use my pin to secure. I'm going to also measure on these other parts and also secure with your pin. So use a gather stitch to run a straight line from down to bottom. Once you've done that, you're going to open it up and give it a beautiful press. So guys, this is what this looks like. As you can see, I used a gather stitch. I've not added zipper to it yet because I've not joined the down part. So this is the front part, this is the back part, and you've seen how the shoulder is sitting beautifully. Now for this down part, I also gathered this up to the waist measurement, including the zipper allowance, and I added the lining piece to it, as you can see. So I am going to join this to the upper bodice. Alright, so once you've gathered that up, make sure it is exactly the waist measurement plus the zipper allowance. Then for the net part, I also cut the lining piece. You can see here I had like 2 inches shorter than the net. Then I used that bias strip to pipe the down part. Just piped the entire, because I'm working with a hard net and this is a baby wear. Okay, so you don't want the baby to feel uncomfortable wearing this. It's either you use your overlocking machine or you go ahead to use your bias to cover that up. I'm also going to use this bias here to also cover this rough part here on the skirt parts, where on the zipper line area of the skirt parts. I'll cover that up before I go ahead to join to the upper bodice. Then for the upper bodice, I did the same thing on the rough parts. Okay, so I did the same thing on the rough edges. I simply used the bias strip to cover it up as well, as you can see. Now you're going to be joining the main fabric to the down parts, leaving the lining. Okay, do not join the lining, leave the lining separately because we use this for the lining. So once I was done joining that, this is exactly what I had, as you can see, guys. So this is looking very beautiful already. Now this is the wrong part, the wrong side. As you can see, I'll go ahead to match the seam on the waistline. Please guys, you must match all the seams. Don't just sew. The seams must align. So from the waist part, come down by like 3 inches and sew all the way to the down parts. Do the same thing on the lining piece. Once you're done with that, you're basically through sewing. This is what will be left will be zip, so there's nothing to it. After that, I'm going to go ahead to fix the zipper off camera. And guys, I'll have a complete dress after fixing the zipper off camera. So guys, this is what this looks like. You've seen how I fixed the zipper. Now I fixed the zipper on the main fabric and used the lining to turn it up. If you want to know how to do this, I have a video on how to sew a kids wear. It's up on my channel. You can check that up. I showed in detail how you can fix your zipper. And have you seen the waistline? It's looking very beautiful. I went ahead to bead this, give this a beautiful beading. If you want to know how I beaded this, just let me know in the comment section. Let me show you guys how I beaded this part. I'm going to also add beads on the waistline and on the neck area. So yeah, if I have enough bead, I'll work it out on the neck area as well. So guys, this is basically it, and this is the bow. This is looking very beautiful. You can make this for your child, you can make this for your clients, anyhow you want to do it. You can even make this and gift someone. Depends. You can make this and sell. Depends what you want to use it for, but you should give it a try. All right, no knowledge is a waste. And see the inside. You can actually make this, and people will think this is actually ready-made because this is looking very neat. Yeah, so guys, this is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and see you guys in my next one.